Okay, today we're going to be making a coil pot with clay. And the first thing that we're going to need to do is to roll out a number of what I like to call clay worms. Just long, thin, round pieces of clay. So what I've done is I've taken a large block of clay and used the wire cutters here in order to slice it approximately 1.5 centimeters thick, and then sliced it into these narrow strips. From there, I'm going to take the clay, I'm going to very carefully crush it in my hand and try and make it a little bit rounder. From there, I'm going to be using the table and my hand, the palm of my hand specifically, so I get the clay as smooth as I possibly can, and start rolling this out. Okay, now that I have the clay rolled out, I'm going to take my base and I'm going to do a procedure called slipping and scoring. And that's creating a small amount of texture along the surface in order to make sure that the clay joins together really well. So I'm going to put this texture all the way around the base of the pot. Alright, so you can see here. And I'm going to do the same thing on the worm. Okay, so now that I have the worm scored, I'm going to take some water, and you can either use water or slip, which is a clay suspended in water. It kind of looks like a Slurpee of clay. So I'm going to take the water, I'm going to put it down over top of the scored edges, and this kind of acts like a glue. So when I press down on the clay, I should see that water kind of getting pushed out to the sides. And I'm going to come and bring this around all the way around the perimeter of the base. Okay. In fact, I'm going to kind of cut that on a little bit of an angle, and I'm going to bring this around. And once I get back to the beginning, I need to come back and I need to continue to score. Right, all the way around the perimeter again. I'm going to keep repeating this process as I build up the height of the vase. The other thing that's going to be really important to do is to make sure that you are joining the pieces of clay together really well. So I'm going to take my clay tool and I'm going to push these pieces down to make the inside look like it is one solid piece of clay. On the outside, I'm going to leave it because I want to have the pattern of the coils to become part of the design of the pot. Okay, so now I've got two layers done. Once it dries out a little bit, I'm going to come back on the outside and clean up the lines in between. Right, but you can also start playing around with different types of pattern with the coils as well. So I'm going to just put a little bit of a score on here like this and start building up a different possibility. So I'm going to just put the moisture down, I'm going to just fold that over, and I'm going to just kind of start looking at coiling this piece here in order to create a new kind of motif. And I'm going to just press that down. And again, I'm not going to worry, I'm going to come back and I'm going to clean up these lines on the outside. But I'm going to take my clay tool here and I'm going to just kind of rub all of this on the one side together to make sure that it sticks nice and strong here. Okay? And I'm going to just go around, I'm going to create a few of these different types of motifs like this here by just coiling. So again, what I had done is I scored, and then I'm going to take my clay and I'm going to coil it around on itself, just like this. And then try and flatten out the back a little bit, make sure that it's really well joined on the back side. Okay? Okay, so I have a variety of these different little coil circles that I've made, and then I've attached them down to the other piece. So what I'm doing, I'm making sure that they're nice and moist. I've already scored the surfaces, and I'm really just pressing these into place as gently as I can, and then getting the corners to touch. In order to solidify this structure, I'm just taking some small pieces of clay, rolling them into my hand, and flattening them out with the base of my palm as much as I can. I'm going to add some moisture. I'm going to use this almost like a band-aid on the inside of the pot, and making sure that I push that moisture right up and out. And this is going to help to create a little extra structure. And I'm also going to make sure that I'm putting it into the corners where the two pieces are getting joined. Okay, so again, I'm going to take my clay, I'm going to flatten it out using the base of my hand and add some moisture, and I'm putting it in. And because this is really nice and thin, it's going to allow me to add structure without adding too much weight. Okay, so on the front side, where those little gaps are, you can see here I've just put a little bead of clay, just rolled it in my hands. Again, make sure that's really wet, and I've just pressed it into place. And I've done that all the way around the perimeter. The next step, once I finish this, is I'm going to take another piece of coil and I'm going to bring this around on the top in order to start holding these pieces together, just like so. Okay, so at this point I have gone through and I've added another band of motifs here with more pebbles and side-to-side decoration. On the inside I've continued to flatten out the pieces of clay. Again, I was doing that between my palms of my hand here, really smooth, and adding moisture and pushing it up just to reinforce. Now, since I've been working on this, it's gotten quite soft. So I'm going to need to take a break from this for a little while and allow the moisture to evaporate out of the clay a little bit. But I don't want to leave it out in the air just like this for the entire time. So I'm going to take a plastic bag. In this case, I've just got a Ziploc bag, and I'm going to put this up over top, and I'm going to actually just kind of tuck it in to protect it for the next little while, so that the moisture will come out slowly, it'll harden up, it'll make it a little bit more rigid, and from there I can build up to another level. Okay, so I've come back to this piece of clay after about 36 hours. It's been overnight in just a plain old Ziploc bag, and it's still quite moist. So what we're going to be doing right now is just going through and using the clay tool, nice sharp point, and emphasizing some of the lines in here, and just trying to clean everything up so that when we're ready for glazing, we're going to have some nice high spots and low spots in order to create some contrast with the glaze colors that we choose a little bit later on. Okay. So this process will probably take about 20 to 30 minutes. Going around and just taking a look at all of the small areas. The other thing that I'm going to be doing is using a little bit of water on my fingertip just to smooth out some areas that might be a little bit more textured or dinged up, just like in these areas here where you can see some of the tool marks. Once that's done, I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to let it dry for 3 or 4 days entirely so that it's bone dry. I'm going to put it in the kiln, and then it will be fired and ready for glazing.